Welcome back to Mr. Yolok's English channel.
We're so glad you're here. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. I want to start today with a scenario that I think every single person listening has probably experienced.
Okay, I'm ready.
So imagine you're at a dinner party, or maybe you're on a first date, or maybe you're just meeting a new colleague for the very first time. There's always that little moment of like slightly awkward silence, and then someone asks the universal question, the one question that kind of opens the door to everything else.
So what do you do?
Exactly. Or even simpler, what did you do today?
Right.
And it sounds so basic, doesn't it? Like I slept, I ate, I worked. But actually answering that question well, I think it's a superpower.
It really, really is. It's the difference between sounding like a robot and sounding like a real person.
Yes.
If you can describe your daily routine with, a bit of nuance, you're not just listing facts, you're telling people who you are.
You're telling a story.
You are. Are you disciplined? Are you a bit chaotic? Do you savor your mornings, or do you just rush through them? All of that is in the answer.
That is the key right there. It's about identity, and that is our mission today. We're not just learning how to say, I brushed my teeth.
No, that's a bit boring.
It's boring, and honestly, most of our listeners probably know that phrase already. We are going to deconstruct the whole architecture of the day. We're going to look at the specific verbs and phrases native speakers use to describe their lives.
And we have some excellent source material today to help us do this. We're going to analyze the lives of three very specific people: Mark, Alex, and Chloe.
Okay.
We have a really detailed breakdown of their schedules, their habits, and maybe most importantly, the exact words they use to describe them.
And these aren't just random people, right? They represent very different lifestyles.
Exactly. We have Mark, who is a professional chef, so his schedule is very unique, very disciplined.
Right. Not a 9-to-5 job.
Not at all. And then we have Alex and Chloe, who have more, let's say, traditional routines, but really different personalities.
And I guess by comparing them, we can see the different ways English speakers use these verbs and phrases.
That's the idea. We're going to look at the how and the why behind the language. It's not just what you say, but what it says about you.
I love that. Okay, so let's jump right in. We're going to start with Mark. He's our chef. And his day starts quite early.
It does. Let's look at his morning. The source material says that on weekdays, he wakes up at 6:30 a.m.
Okay, let's unpack this right away.
Okay.
Wakes up. This is a classic point of confusion for learners, isn't it? Even for some advanced speakers who want to get that nuance just right.
It is.
Is waking up the same thing as getting up?
This is the perfect place to start. And the short answer is no. They are not the same thing.
Okay.
In English, there's a really, really important distinction. To wake up refers to the moment your eyes open. It's a mental shift. It's when your brain switches from, sleeping to being awake.
So the alarm goes off, your eyes flutter open, boom, you've woken up.
Precisely. You are conscious. But, and this is the important part, that doesn't mean you're out of bed yet. And Mark gives us a perfect example of this. The source tells us he wakes up at 6:30, but then he lies in bed for 10 minutes.
Okay, so he's awake, but he hasn't moved yet.
Exactly. He's just lying there.
Lies in bed. I think we can all relate to that. Just lying there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the day ahead.
Or trying to convince yourself to leave the warmth of the blankets. It's a daily battle for me.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. So he's in that state for 10 minutes. So when does he actually leave the bed?
He says at 6:40, I get up. And that is the key phrase. Get up.
Get up.
This is the physical action. It's moving your body out of the bed and standing on the floor. Wake up is mental, get up is physical.
So you really can't just use them interchangeably if you're telling a story about your morning.
No, you can't. Not if you want to be precise. If you say, I got up at 6:30, people will visualize you standing on your feet, maybe walking to the bathroom at 6:30.
But if you say, I woke up at 6:30, but I didn't get up until 7, that tells a whole story right there.
It does. It implies you like to relax, or maybe you're really tired, or maybe you're checking your phone. It implies a gap between consciousness and action.
Which I have a feeling we'll see later with Alex.
We will indeed.
But Mark seems pretty disciplined. He gets up after just 10 minutes. Does the text say if he hits the snooze button?
It doesn't mention a snooze button for Mark. He seems to be a real morning person.
I envy those people. I really do. Okay, so he's up. Now, what's the very first thing he does? I know for me, and I suspect for many people listening, the first mission is coffee.
The caffeine fix, yes. It's a ritual for millions of people.
Yeah.
But Mark is Well, he's a bit different. He's very focused on health.
Okay.
The text explicitly mentions that he does not drink coffee first thing in the morning.
No coffee.
Wow.
That is brave.
Instead, he goes to the kitchen and he drinks a glass of warm lemon water.
Warm lemon water. That sounds very specific and very healthy.
It is. It sounds cleansing, doesn't it?
It sounds like something a yoga instructor would tell you to do or something you'd read on a wellness blog.
Laughs. It absolutely does. But think about the vocabulary of sensation here. Coffee is associated with words like energy, buzz, or waking up.
Right, it's a jolt.
Exactly. But lemon water is associated with being fresh, cleansed, hydrated. It's a much gentler start.
So he's kind of flushing out the system. It really sets a tone for the day, doesn't it? If you start your day with warm lemon water, you probably aren't going to eat a huge sugary donut 5 minutes later.
That's a great point. It creates a kind of halo effect for the rest of his morning. It signals health, and that leads directly into his next activity. He doesn't sit down on the sofa.
No, he exercises.
Immediately. He says he goes for a jog.
Okay, let's look at that phrase. He doesn't just say, I run. He says, I go for a jog. What's the difference there?
It's a subtle one. Go for a jog or go for a run is a very natural, common way to describe exercise in English. You can say, I run in the mornings, and that's grammatically perfect. But I go for a jog sounds a bit more experiential.
Like it's a planned activity, a
Correct.
session.
Exactly. It implies a complete session of exercise. And jog usually implies a steady, sustainable pace.
Right,
He isn't sprinting like an Olympian.
right. It's not a race.
Correct. Jogging is about endurance and consistency.
Yeah.
And the text says he goes to the park for 30 minutes.
And the result of all this, he says he feels fresh.
Here's that word again, fresh. It started with the lemon water. Now it's reinforced by the jog.
I guess after lemon water and a 30-minute run in the park, you'd feel pretty awake. You wouldn't be groggy anymore.
Groggy is a fantastic word. That feeling when your brain is still half asleep and you can't quite focus.
Yeah, that's me before coffee.
Mark is definitely not groggy. I mean, he has already done more by 7:30 a.m. than many people do all day. But after the exercise, he has to get ready for the day.
Okay, let's look at the language here. The source mentions 2 key actions. Take a shower and get dressed.
Yes, and these are what we call collocations, words that just naturally go together in English. Let's start with take a shower.
This is one that trips up a lot of learners because in many other languages, you might use a verb that translates to make a shower or do a shower.
Exactly. But in English, if you say, I made a shower, people might think you literally built a bathroom.
Laughs, right. I constructed a shower this morning with tiles and everything.
The verb is almost always take. Or sometimes you'll hear have, you take a shower, or you have a shower. Both are very, very natural.
Okay, so take or have, and then get dressed.
Yes, get is one of those incredibly versatile verbs in English. Here, get dressed means the whole process of putting on your clothes. It's the transition from being naked or in pajamas to being fully clothed for the day.
And Mark's clothes are interesting. He describes a very specific, simple outfit. He wears a simple white t-shirt and black pants.
And this tells us something about his routine and his job. He's a chef. He probably wears a uniform or chef's whites at the restaurant.
Ah, okay.
So his morning clothes are simple, clean, and functional. He doesn't have to waste mental energy thinking about fashion.
That's the whole decision fatigue thing, right? Where successful people wear the same thing every day.
Exactly. Steve Jobs was famous for this, wearing the same black turtleneck every single day so he didn't have to waste brain power deciding what to wear. Mark seems to have a similar philosophy. White t-shirt, black pants, simple, done.
That definitely makes the morning routine faster, I bet. So he's showered, he's dressed, it is now 8 a.m., time for food.
Yes. And here we have another crucial grammar point from the source material. Mark says, I have breakfast at 8 a.m.
Have breakfast, so not eat breakfast.
Well, you can say eat breakfast. It is 100% grammatically correct. If you say, I eat breakfast at 8:00, everyone will understand you perfectly.
But
But
yeah.
have breakfast, have lunch, and have dinner are the preferred, more natural-sounding phrases in everyday English.
It sounds a bit softer, doesn't it? I'm going to have breakfast.
It does. I think eat focuses more on the mechanical act of chewing and swallowing. Have implies the whole experience, sitting down, maybe looking at a newspaper, enjoying the meal as an event.
That is a great distinction. It's more holistic. So Mark has eggs and fruit. Again, sticking to that healthy, disciplined theme.
Exactly. Protein and vitamins. No sugary cereal or toast for him.
So let's just quickly recap Mark's morning so far. He wakes up at 6:30, lies in bed for 10 minutes, then gets up at 6:40, drinks warm lemon water, goes for a jog, takes a shower, gets dressed in his simple white t-shirt and black pants, and has a healthy breakfast at 8:00.
It's very structured, very intentional morning. He's accomplished all of this before he even leaves the house.
Which brings us to part 2, the commute. Mark leaves his house at 9 a.m. Now, depending on where you live, 9 a.m. might seem a bit late to leave for work.
True, but we have to remember he works in a restaurant. His hours are completely different from a typical office job.
Good point. But let's look at how he gets to work. This is a great vocabulary nugget right here. He says, I cycle to work.
Cycle.
Yes, he doesn't say, I ride a bicycle, although that would be correct, right?
Totally correct.
Yeah.
But he uses the verb cycle. I cycle to the restaurant. It's very efficient language.
Is there a difference in the feeling between ride a bike and cycle?
I think there's a little one. Ride a bike is very general. Children ride bikes in the park on a Sunday. But to cycle, using it as a verb, often implies that it's a serious mode of transport or a form of exercise. It sounds more intentional.
It sounds more active, like he might be wearing a helmet and have special gear, not just casually pedaling.
That's a good way to put it. And the source material actually contrasts this with other modes of transport. This brings us to a grammar point that can drive learners crazy. Prepositions.
Oh, the prepositions. In, on, at. The tiny words that cause so much trouble.
Let's just look at the transport rules here because there's a really simple trick. Mark is on a bicycle, so we say he is on the bike.
Okay. On the bike, what if he took the bus instead?
Okay, so if you use public transportation, like a bus, the verb we use is take. You take the bus. But if you are describing your location, you are on the bus.
Even though you're physically inside it, that's the confusing part.
I know. But here's the general rule, and it works about 90% of the time.
Yeah.
If you can stand up and walk around on the vehicle, you are on it. You are on a bus. You are on a train. You are on a plane.
That is a really helpful trick. Yeah. Can I walk? Yes, then I am on it.
Exactly. Now compare that to a car. Can you stand up and walk around in a typical car?
No, you'd hit your head. You have to sort of crouch to get in.
Right. So you are in a car. You are in a taxi. You are in a truck.
In a car on a bus. That actually makes so much sense now. So Mark is on his bike. He cycles, and it takes him about 15 minutes.
So it's a short, active commute. And he arrives at the restaurant. He says, I start work at 9:30 a.m.
Start work. That's the Kim phrase for the beginning of your shift.
And notice again, he doesn't say, I open work.
Right. You open a door or you open a box, but you start work.
And what does a chef do at 9:30 in the morning? The restaurant probably isn't open for customers yet.
No, absolutely not. But the preparation, the prep work, starts hours before. He checks all the food in the kitchens, the deliveries. He talks to his team. He prepares the menu for the day. There is so much setup before the first customer arrives.
It's the mise en place, as they say in French, getting everything in its place.
And then the chaos begins. He mentions that they start serving food at 12 p.m., and that's the lunch rush.
Right. And because he is busy cooking and serving food at 12:00, he can't eat lunch then. This is a detail I found really fascinating about the life of a chef. Mark has lunch at 3 p.m.
That is so late for lunch. Most of us are thinking about our third coffee or a little snack at 3 p.m.
It's what's known as the staff meal in the restaurant industry. You have to feed the customers first. When the rush finally slows down, usually after 2.0 or 2.3, then the staff gets to eat.
And he notes that it's a small meal. He eats with his coworkers, they talk. It sounds like a nice moment of community in an otherwise crazy busy day.
It is. It's a moment to finally breathe. And he actually gets a proper break. He mentions he relaxes for 1 hour in the afternoon.
That is the calm before the storm, isn't it? Because after that break, the dinner preparation and the evening rush starts all over again.
Exactly. And this is where Mark's day becomes very, very long. He works all evening through the dinner service. He says, I finish work late around 9:30 p.m.
Finish work. Again, notice the collocation. He doesn't say, I close work or I end work. The natural phrase is finish work.
And 9:30 p.m. is quite late to get off. It's totally dark outside by then.
And he has to cycle home in the dark. Wow, that takes some serious dedication. He must have very good lights on his bike.
He must. But he seems to really enjoy the routine, the structure of it all.
So he arrives back at his house. What is the vocabulary for that arrival? How does he phrase it?
He says, when I get home. Get home is the standard natural phrase for arriving at your house.
So he doesn't say arrive to home or arrive at my home. Just get home.
Correct. Get home. As in, what time did you get home last night? Or I get home late on Wednesdays. It's a very common phrase.
So he's home. He must be exhausted. And think about his eating schedule. He had that small lunch way back at 3 p.m. It's now almost 10 p.m.
He must be starving.
Yeah.
But again, discipline. He says he has a light dinner, usually soup.
This makes so much sense, though. If you eat a huge, heavy meal, like a big steak or a giant bowl of pasta at 10 or at night, it's really hard to sleep well.
Your body is working so hard on digestion. It takes energy. Soup is warm, it's easy to digest, and it's comforting. It signals to the body that the day is over.
And speaking of signaling that the day is over, let's look at how he winds down. This part is really interesting to me because it feels quite rare these days. Mark does not watch TV.
No TV, no Netflix, no YouTube scrolling. In a world of constant streaming and binge watching, Mark prefers to relax on the sofa and read a book or listen to music.
That sounds incredibly peaceful. Just silence, a book, and a bowl of soup.
It creates a very clear separation between his high-stress job. I mean, a professional kitchen is noisy and hot and chaotic, and his sleep time. He's intentionally decompressing. He's turning off the noise.
That's a great phrasal verb right there. Turn off. He is literally turning off his brain from work.
And then the final steps of the day, the things we all do.
Hygiene first. Brush my teeth.
A classic. And finally, the destination. Go to bed.
Go to bed. Again, notice the specific phrasing. He doesn't just say, I sleep. He says, I go to bed.
Yes, and this is another one of those subtle distinctions. Go to bed means the action of going to your bedroom with the intention of sleeping.
Oh.
You can go to bed at 11:30, but not actually fall asleep until 12:00.
Right. I went to bed early, but I couldn't sleep. We've all been there, tossing and turning.
Exactly. But Mark says he goes to bed at 11:30 p.m., and he also says he sleeps very well.
I bet he does. I mean, between the jogging, the cycling, the standing on his feet for 10 hours, and the no screens rule at night, he probably passes out immediately.
Passes out. That's a great colloquialism. It means to fall asleep very quickly and very heavily. Yes, I think he probably passes out the second his head hits the pillow.
So that's Mark, the disciplined chef. He's active, he focuses on having meals and getting dressed. Now, let's shift gears. We have two other people in our source material, Alex and Chloe.
And the routines are quite different, which is great because it gives us some really useful alternative vocabulary.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, not everyone is as disciplined as Mark.
Definitely not. I'm certainly not cycling home in the dark after a 10-hour shift. So let's start with the mornings again. We saw Mark wakes up at 6:30. What about Chloe?
Chloe is what we might call an early bird, or at the very least, she's very efficient. She wakes up at 7:15 a.m.
Okay, a little later than Mark.
A little later. But the key difference is her action immediately after. Remember, Mark lay in bed for 10 minutes. Chloe says she gets up immediately.
So she doesn't linger, the alarm goes off, and her feet are on the floor.
That's her style. She says she doesn't like staying in bed. She wants to get up and start the day. No hesitation.
And what's her morning drink of choice? Mark had his lemon water.
Chloe has tea. She specifically mentions she does not drink coffee. She finds tea relaxing. So she starts her day with a calm, hot beverage.
Okay, so a gentle start like Mark, but in a different way. Now, let's contrast that with Alex. I have to say, I feel like Alex represents a lot of us. I feel a spiritual connection to Alex's morning.
I think many, many listeners will identify with Alex. So Alex wakes up at 7 a.m.
Okay, so technically he wakes up earlier than Chloe.
He does.
Yeah.
But he stays in bed until 7:30.
That is 30 minutes lying in bed. What is he doing for half an hour?
He admits it. He is checking his phone.
The scroll, the morning scroll, checking emails, checking social media, looking at the news.
It is such a modern routine, isn't it? Checking my phone in bed. And psychologists often say this is a really bad habit because you start your day reacting to other people's lives and other people's demands instead of focusing on your own.
It puts you in a reactive state immediately. And because of that, his morning probably feels a bit more rushed, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. He's lost 30 minutes to the scroll. He says himself that he is always in a hurry in the morning.
Let's look at their breakfasts. That's always telling. Mark had eggs and fruit. Chloe has yogurt and fruit. Also very healthy. What does Alex have?
Alex has cereal or toast.
Fast food.
Exactly. Not fast food like burgers and fries, but food that is fast to prepare. Cereal or toast.
You pop the bread in the toaster, you wait 2 minutes, maybe you eat it standing up while looking for your keys.
That's the image, isn't it? He's eating for speed, not necessarily for nutrition or for enjoyment. He's probably grabbing breakfast.
Grab breakfast. That's another good natural phrase. I need to grab something to eat before I go.
It implies you're moving fast, you're in a hurry.
Okay, now let's talk about how they get to work. We know Mark cycles. What about Chloe? The source says she takes the subway.
Takes the subway. And depending on where you live, you might say the metro, the underground, or in London, the tube. But the verb is always take. She notes it takes about 20 minutes.
She also says it's crowded but fast. That's always the trade-off with public transit in a big city. You're squeezed in with a lot of strangers, but you beat the traffic.
For sure. Now, Alex has a very interesting commute situation. He actually has two different scenarios, and this reflects the modern workplace perfectly.
Right. Scenario A involves no travel at all.
Exactly. He says he works from home 2 days a week.
Work from home. We see that acronym WFH everywhere now since 2020.
For sure. And when he works from home, he jokes that his commute is just walking from bed to desk.
That is the best commute. 10 seconds, no traffic.
It's hard to beat. But of course, there can be a downside to working from home, which is that it can be hard to separate your work life from your home life. But that's a topic for another deep dive.
What about the other 3 days, the days he goes into the office?
On those days, he drives, and it takes him 40 minutes. That's a long time compared to Mark's 15-minute cycle or Chloe's 20-minute subway ride.
40 minutes in a car, that can be pretty stressful.
Whoa.
Traffic jams, red lights, looking for parking.
But he uses the time well. He says he listens to podcasts while he drives.
Hey, maybe he's listening to us right now.
We can only hope. But listening to podcasts is a fantastic way to use that dead time during a commute. It turns a boring, frustrating drive into a learning opportunity.
Okay, so they're all at work. Let's fast forward to the evening. We saw Mark finishes very, very late, around 9:30 p.m. When does Chloe finish her workday?
Chloe finishes work at 6 p.m. This is a much more standard office schedule, the classic 9 to 6 or 9 to 5.
And what does she do after work? She doesn't just go home and crash on the sofa.
No, she's quite proactive. She goes to the supermarket on her way home. And here is a key phrase. She makes dinner.
Makes dinner. That's interesting. Mark had a light dinner. Chloe makes it.
The verb choice is important. Make dinner strongly implies she is cooking from scratch. Chopping vegetables, using the stove, preparing a full meal. She says she actually likes to cook. It's a hobby for her, not just a chore.
So for her, cooking is a way to relax and be creative. It's a transition from work mode to home mode.
Precisely. Now, what about Alex? The guy who eats toast in a hurry and works from his desk next to his bed. Does he cook?
I have a feeling I know the answer. I'm guessing no.
You guessed right. Alex openly admits he is a terrible cook. So he usually orders food.
Order food, like delivery, using an app like Uber Eats or DoorDash, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Or he just eats something very simple, like more cereal. So you can see the huge difference in lifestyle reflected right there in the language. Chloe makes dinner. It's active, creative. Alex orders food. It's passive, convenient.
Neither one is wrong, of course, but they describe very different evenings and very different priorities.
Exactly. Now let's look at their pre-sleep routines. Mark, our chef, read books and listened to music. No TV.
Right. And Chloe is actually quite similar to Mark in this way. The source says she reads for about 15 minutes before bed. It helps her calm down. And she goes to bed at 11 p.m.
Reading is such a classic way to induce sleepiness. It focuses the eyes and the mind on one thing, away from the worries of the day.
And Alex, let me guess, it involves a screen.
You are 2 for 2. Alex falls into the technology trap again. He watches a show on Netflix.
Just one more episode, the most dangerous phrase in the English language.
And suddenly it's 1 a.m. and you have to be up in 6 hours.
We call that binge watching, right? When you watch episode after episode in one sitting.
We do. Though Alex just says he watches a show, he actually admits that he knows reading is probably better for sleep, but he watches TV anyway. It's a habit.
It's a hard habit to break. The blue light from the screen is designed to keep you awake and engaged.
So we have 3 very different evenings. Mark reading in silence after a long physical shift. Chloe cooking a nice meal and reading after a standard office day.
Yeah.
And Alex ordering takeout and watching Netflix.
It really paints such a clear picture of 3 distinct personalities, just through their routines.
It does. But before we wrap up the comparison, I want to touch on one specific grammar rule that kept popping up with all 3 people. It's about telling time.
Yes, the preposition of time. Listeners, if you go back and think about it, you'll notice that whenever our speakers mention a specific clock time, they all use the same tiny word, at.
This is a non-negotiable rule in English. It's always at with the clock time. At 6:30.
At 9.
At 11:30 p.m.
It's such a small word, but it's so crucial for accuracy. You never say, I woke up in 7.0 or on 7.0. You always say, I woke up at 7.0.
But then just to make it confusing, you do say in the morning, right?
Correct. We say in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening.
But then it changes again for night. You say at night.
English is fun, isn't it? It just loves to keep you guessing in the morning, but at night, and always at 7 a.m.
It keeps you on your toes. But if you could just remember at for clock times, you will be correct 100% of the time. That's a solid rule to hold on to.
So we have walked through the days of Mark, Alex, and Chloe. We have seen the big differences like wake up versus get up.
We've seen start work and finish work.
And we've seen the different transport verbs, cycle, drive, and take the subway.
And maybe most importantly, the cultural nuance of having meals instead of just eating them.
Thinking about these three routines all together, what's the one thing that really stands out to you?
For me, it's how the vocabulary choices really reflect the energy of the person. Mark's vocabulary is so active. Jog, cycle, fresh, make.
Right.
Chloe's is organized and intentional. Immediate, makes dinner, reads. Alex is a little more passive, maybe a bit more reactive. Stay in bed, check phone, watch a show, order food.
That is a fantastic observation. The words you choose to describe your day actually say so much about your lifestyle. If you find yourself saying, I get up 30 minutes after you wake up, and you order food instead of making it, maybe you're living the Alex lifestyle.
And hey, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. We've all had our Alex days or Alex weeks. But simply knowing how to describe it accurately gives you power.
So here is our challenge to you, the listener. We want you to do what was suggested in the SORC material. We want you to try this.
Write it down. Get a piece of paper or open a new note on your phone and write out your own daily routine. But don't just write work 9 to 5.
Now use the full natural phrases we discussed today.
Right. I wake up at, and then I get up at. Be honest.
I have breakfast at, and what do you have? I go to work by.
Be specific. Do you cycle? Do you take the bus? Do you drive? Are you in your car or on the train?
And as you write, ask yourself, who are you? Are you a Mark? Are you super disciplined? Do you drink lemon water?
Are you a Chloe? Do you get up immediately, cook your own dinner, and read before bed?
Or are you an Alex? Do you check your phone in bed and order takeout and love watching Netflix?
There is no wrong answer. It's not a test. But being able to describe it clearly in English is the goal. That's the skill.
Absolutely. Because if you can master these simple, fundamental descriptions, how you wake up, how you eat, how you move through your day, you are ready for thousands of real conversations.
It really is the key to connecting with people. That question, what did you do today, is the most universal conversation starter. And now you have the tools for a great answer.
And maybe, just maybe, looking at Mark's routine might inspire one or two of you to try that warm lemon water.
Or the 30-minute jog, who knows?
I think I might stick to the coffee for now, though. I'm not quite ready to give up my morning caffeine ritual.
I think I'll join you on that. Coffee is pretty essential to my own daily routine.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into daily routines. It's been a real pleasure unpacking these lives in this language with you.
It really has. Keep practicing those verbs and collocations, everyone.
And we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.